Santa Muerte in her Aztec and Indigenous form, the ancestral warrior of Holy Death. Santa Muerte, though often recognized today as the skeletal saint of protection, justice, and devotion, has roots that reach deep into the spiritual and warrior traditions of Mesoamerican civilizations. Before the arrival of the Spanish colonization and Catholicism, the indigenous people of Mexico held a powerful and complex understanding of death, not as an end, but as a sacred transition, an integral force of existence, and a path to transformation. In her indigenous form, Santa Muerte is linked to Mictecacihuatl, the Aztec goddess of death and the underworld, and other deities who govern the afterlife and the cycles of nature. Yet beyond being a mere guardian of the dead, she also embodies the warrior spirit, a relentless force that demands respect, loyalty, and devotion. She is both a compassionate guide and a fierce protector, ensuring justice and balance while granting strength to those who walk with her. To fully understand Santa Muerte's indigenous essence, we must explore her role as both a guardian of ancestral wisdom and a spiritual warrior protecting the oppressed and guiding souls through the trials of life and death. So one thing has always been very true about Santa Muerte. She is with those that are oppressed. She is with those that are downtrodden and looked down upon. She's always been an advocate for those that are very that are forgotten, that are mistreated, and that are often, looked down by society. That's been her traditional sense, right? Santa Muerte and Mictecacihuatl, the goddess of death and the sacred feminine. In the Aztec pantheon, Mictecacihuatl was the queen of Mictlan, the underworld. She ruled alongside her consort Mictlantecuhtli, overseeing the souls of the dead and ensuring they completed their journey through the 9 levels of the underworld. Depicted as a skeletal figure, much like Santa Muerte, Mictecacihuatl was not a figure of terror, but of balance. Her role was to receive and care for the dead, protecting the spirits who had no one to honor them. She was honored in great ceremonies that would later influence Dia de los Muertos, a tradition that continues today as a way to honor those who have passed. Santa Muerte, in her indigenous form, carries these same sacred attributes. She is the guide of souls, ensuring a peaceful journey into the afterlife. She protects the forgotten dead, embracing those who have no one to pray for them. She is the guardian of sacred knowledge, holding the mysteries of life, death, and rebirth. She is the keeper of justice, ensuring that all souls, whether rich or poor, receive their destined fate. So in her Aztec form, it didn't matter how rich you were, how poor you were, what political standing you had. If you were a commoner, it didn't matter. You're going to be judged the same. So again, that's life. Riches have no meaning once you go. So like I said last week, start investing in your eternal life. Her presence reminds us that death is not something to be feared, but something to honor and understand. Just as Mictecacihuatl ruled over the spirits of the dead, Santa Muerte continues to watch over those who call upon her, ensuring that no soul, living or deceased, is left unprotected. The indigenous concept of death and Santa Muerte's warrior spirit. For the indigenous people of Mesoamerica, death was not seen as an ending, but as a sacred transformation into the next stage of existence. Unlike the European notion of death as something to be feared, the Aztecs and other native groups believed that the afterlife was a complex journey where one's actions in life determined their final destination. Warriors who died in battle were believed to join the sun rising in glory. Women who died in childbirth were honored as sacred warriors, their sacrifice equal to that of men in battle. Those who drowned or died from the elements were sent to Talocan, the paradise of the rain god Tlaloc. Most souls traveled to Mictlan, where they endured trials before reaching eternal rest. Santa Muerte, in her indigenous form, embodies these ancient understandings of death, not as an enemy, but as a necessary force of life. She is both the guide and the warrior, ensuring that souls follow their destined path while also protecting those who face struggles in life. So she is a loving mother that protects us fiercely. Her warrior essence manifests in several ways. She fights for the souls of the forgotten, just as Mictecacihuatl ruled over the unclaimed dead. Santa Muerte ensures that no soul is abandoned or lost. And sorry for me ruining that Aztec pronunciation. I'm so sorry. She empowers the oppressed. Those who have been marginalized, judged unfairly, or silenced often turn to Santa Muerte for protection. Her justice is absolute, free from corruption or favoritism. She grants endurance in times of hardship. Like indigenous warriors who train to withstand pain and struggle, Santa Muerte strengthens those who face trials, helping them transform suffering into power. So, as being a devoted child of Santa Muerte, I feel sometimes I am put to test. I am put to the test and I endure hardships in order for me to grow spiritually. And it is part of life. As we get older, we face different hardships and different trials and tribulations. But it is meant to fortify us. It is meant to make us stronger. So that way, as new things come into our lives, we are able to see everything as it is and be able to rise to the occasion. She wields the weapons of death and rebirth. While modern depictions show her with a scythe, in her indigenous form, she may carry an obsidian knife, a Mictecacihuatl, an Aztec blade club, or a staff of bones, all symbols of divine justice and spiritual warfare. For those who feel powerless, Santa Muerte, in her warrior aspect, grants strength. For those who are lost, she illuminates the path. For those who have been wronged, she ensures that justice is served. She is not just a protector, but a force to be reckoned with. Santa Muerte and the ancient lords of death. Santa Muerte's indigenous identity is not solely linked to Mictecacihuatl. Many deities and spirits govern death, transformation, and the afterlife in Mesoamerican traditions. Their presence can still be felt with her power today. Mictlantecuhtli, the lord of the underworld, a skeletal god who ruled Mictlan, ensuring that the souls of the dead reach their destined place. Santa Muerte, like her, reminds us that death is part of a natural order and inevitably to be accepted, not feared. Cholotli, the guide of souls. I'm a butcher all these names. I'm sorry. The twins of Quetzalcoatl, associated with fire, lightning, and safe passage through the underworld. Santa Muerte shares this role as a protector of travelers, both in life and death, ensuring that all souls reach their final destination. Coyolaxwaki, the warrior moon goddess. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna mess up these pronunciations. A warrior deity who was decapitated and dismembered, representing death, sacrifice, and rebirth. Santa Muerte reflects this same power, showing that death is not destruction but transformation. So I feel, and this is just how I feel, that all those different death deities and gods in Mesoamerican culture were all one the same. Just like Santa Muerte embodies different aspects of herself in different cloak colors, I also believe that all of those were linked and one and the same, just she would present herself in different forms for different actions. These ancient forces live on in Santa Muerte, proving that she is not merely a product of spiritual influence, but a continuation of the deep spiritual truth of Mexico's indigenous heritage. Final reflection. The eternal guardian and warrior of the spirit, Santa Muerte in her Aztec and indigenous form is far more than a modern folk saint. She is an ancestral force, a warrior spirit, and a sacred protector of the living and the dead. She embodies the resilience of indigenous traditions, ensuring that the old ways never truly disappear, but instead evolve, waiting to be rediscovered by those who seek them, like us. To work with Santa Muerte in her indigenous form, it is to embrace the deep spiritual roots of Mesoamerican, to honor the cycles of life and death, to call upon the wisdom of the ancestors, and to walk the path of justice, balance, and transformation. Whether she is called La Niña Blanca, Mictecacihuatl, or Señora de la Santa Muerte, her presence is eternal. She walks with those who seek her guidance, those who honor her, and protects those who fight for truth and justice. May the ancient Santa Muerte grant you strength, wisdom, and protection, just as she has done for centuries before.